My name is Shirley Rietdyk, and I'm a professor at Purdue University in the Department of Health and Kinesiology. To avoid falling on an icy surface, the first thing you want to do is slow down. It's better to arrive late at an appointment than to end up in the emergency room. Secondly, you want to make sure that your footwear is appropriate and has the right amount of traction. And then third, when you're out walking, keep your hands out of your pockets. If you start to lose your balance, you can use your hands to break the impact of the fall. Now, people have told me that they are unwilling to do that because they're concerned about breaking their wrist. However, if you don't do that, your head or your hip are going to take the full impact, and a fractured hip or a traumatic brain injury are far worse than a fractured wrist. Falls are a major public health issue. Every year, millions of Americans fall, and 1 out of every 5 falls results in a serious injury, such as a broken limb or a traumatic brain injury. These injuries result in over 3 million visits to the emergency room, and the costs associated with this exceeded $50 billion in the year 2015. And Medicare and Medicaid shoulder 75% of these costs. Conditions that can contribute to falls are called fall risk factors. These risk factors can be environmental or personal. Environmental risk factors include slippery surfaces, broken flooring, or a cluttered environment. Personal risk factors are much wider ranging. They include being older, being female, taking multiple prescription drugs, being vitamin D deficient, having weakness, vision impairment, hearing impairment, and the list continues. In fact, if you are a cancer survivor, you also have a greater risk of falling. Most falls occur from a combination of multiple risk factors. The more risk factors you have, the greater your risk of falling. Fall-related injuries can make it very difficult for a person to get around and do their daily activities, such as cleaning the house, preparing meals, or bathing. This may ultimately lead to a loss of independence. Even when a fall doesn't result in an injury, a person may become frightened of falling, and then this in turn means that they start to avoid activities where they feel like they might fall. Avoiding activities leads to deconditioning and greater weaknesses, and therefore the person ultimately becomes at a greater risk of falling.